Finally, tonight, the story of a man who is always trying to be kind and how that is improving people's lives. A lot of American kids want to have a lemonade stand, but not all of them think they have to. Emery Johnson, who is 7 years old, started her own business a few weeks ago after having a real bad dream in the morning. The worst news of my life came to me when I woke up. When Sarah set up her lemonade stand that morning, she probably wouldn't have believed it if someone told her Elon Musk would walk by and change her whole story. But Elon Musk did something that shocked everyone. This movie will soon show you what it was. Sarah, who was only 10 years old, set up a small lemonade stand in the park on that hot Tuesday. Today we have both a beautiful sight and a war. They set up a lemonade stand in their neighborhood to help people. Off Ilef and Salida for a great price. Yes, they are a brother and sister. Every morning at 6, they go out to sell lemonade and make money. With its shaky table, worn-out cloth, and cups that don't go together. Her hand-drawn lemonade for food sign on cardboard flapped in the wind above her stand. While the giving jar next to her only had a few coins and a smashed can of green beans in it, Sarah stood tall, proud, and determined next to an empty park bench, even though it was hot and her cap was too big for her head. People walking by thought she was just another kid having a fun summer afternoon outside. There was something else in Sarah's eyes, though. They were serious and focused. She was scared even though she smiled because she heard her parents talking quietly at night and saw that her dad looked tired at dinner. Sarah heard her mother say that she was going to skip dinner so that she and her baby brother could eat. That's when Sarah got an idea. On some TV shows, she had seen kids with lemonade stands who sold the drink for small amounts of money. Sarah didn't want any extra money. She was hungry. In the event that she could trade lemonade for canned beans, she thought that. An old-fashioned way for a girl in Scottsboro to raise money is to have a lemonade stand. But the cause isn't what you'd think. If you could send her family and maybe some other families rice in boxes or even a piece of bread, that would help them. The response was cool at first. As they walked by, people smiled politely. Some stopped to say how clever it was, but no one actually bought it. Sarah wasn't bothered by that. She did her count every night. A corn can with dents here and a peanut butter jar that's only half full there. As the days went by and her lemonade ran out, fewer and fewer people seemed to notice her stand. She was proud of everything she picked up. A lot of people were jogging and walking their dogs through the park that afternoon, and Sarah sighed as she watched them go by without stopping. It could have been a bad plan after all. In the same afternoon, a man who was poor had walked by. His clothes were worn out and his face was tired. Sarah saw him pause near the curb. He was looking at the lemonade with his eyes fixed on it, but his hands were empty. She poured him a drink right away without giving it a second thought. The car pulled up, and the girl got out. I asked her if she wanted to buy some lemonade. She said, yeah, with lemonade. Then she took the chip jar, sat down in the passenger seat of the car, and the car drove off. She smiled and said, here it is on me. The man looked at her with surprise, then said thank you in a low voice. He then took a long drink and left. Sarah didn't give it much thought. Her folks had taught her that it was the right thing to do. A man in sunglasses and a baseball cap walked by at that very moment. She had a sign that was probably longer than most. He stopped and looked at it. That man, though, was going to change her whole story. Elon Musk was that person. Elon had seen the exchange between the man and the homeless person from afar, and it really moved him. Elon Musk was in the park that day by chance. He wasn't planning to go to this little town, but only stopped for a short time on his way to a nearby building where Tesla was trying a new version of its solar-powered charging station. As usual, he had a lot on his plate with meetings, phone calls, and brainstorming talks all happening at the same time. Of course, on the way there, his assistant said something strange about the business of the town had just closed, putting hundreds of people out of work. Musk had always been interested in how technology could help towns that were in bad shape. Hence, he went off-road a little, stretched his legs, and looked around the area before his meeting. To avoid drawing attention to himself, Musk wore a baseball cap and shades as he walked through the neighborhood park that was peaceful. That's when he saw Sarah's lemonade stand. This Ohio girl, 8 years old, is almost forced to quit making lemonade. Had this happened last weekend in Alliance, when some vendors at a neighborhood food festival complained about her. At first, he almost didn't notice it because he thought it was just another cute kid's activity he'd seen a million times. He stopped, though. He saw the sign. Lemonade for a meal. The 50 cents a cup game wasn't like that. For a short time, he watched Sarah pour lemonade into a paper cup for an old man, who then gave her a small bag of rice. Musk walked up to them, interested in learning more about this unusual business plan. It made him think of the things he did as a kid to make money, like making candy and selling it door to door in South Africa. At that time, he liked how resourceful Sarah was. Sarah and her family had a strong Christian faith that was an important part of their lives even before they went through hard times. Sarah had learned from a young age how important it was to be kind, give to others, and believe God, even when things were hard. On Sundays, they went to a small church. It was there that her parents often taught her that faith was more than just going to church. It meant living out what Jesus taught. Being kind to your neighbor, helping the poor, and helping anyone who needs it without asking anything in return. Even though her lemonade stand isn't very fancy, it shows what she stands for. Emery Johnson, who is 7 years old, lost her mom Carly last month. The family didn't have enough money to buy a tombstone because of the terrible event. Emery chose to sell lemonade to get money for one. Sarah felt like she had to do something when she thought about the other families in her neighborhood who were having the same problems as hers. Her mom always told her, we can't do everything, but we can do something, and that's enough. But their problems put their faith to the test in ways they didn't expect. When Sarah's dad lost his job, it was a huge blow to the whole family. As the bills came in, the once comfortable dinners around the table turned into careful estimates of how much they could spend. Even though her parents tried to keep her and her brothers from the worst of it, Sarah could tell they were stressed by the way they prayed, the way her dad lingered a little longer in the garage, and the look of exhaustion on her mom's face after working extra shifts for hours on end. "What's going on here?" Sarah asked one night as she held her Bible. "Doesn't God care?" Sarah's mom got down on her knees next to her and wiped a tear off her face. She said in a whisper, "He cares more than we'll ever know, trusting, even when it's hard to see the plan, is part of having faith." Sarah would remember this lesson and put it into every glass of lemonade she sold, thinking that it would make the world a little better. He said as he knelt next to the stand. "That's a cool thought. How's business?" Sarah looked up, a little taken aback by the question. She said with a shrug, "I guess it's okay, not many people stop, but some do." The man took one of the plastic cups from her table and turned it over in his hands as if he were looking at something important. He thought for a moment and said, most people just sell lemonade for money. At her lemonade stand, which she has called Lemonade for Lunch, Maya wants to make money. This plan comes right after her first attempt at a lemonade stand. Why food? Sarah thought about it for a moment. It wasn't like her to tell strangers her story, but something about him made her feel like she could trust him. She softly said, "My dad lost his job also. Food costs a lot. I believed I might be able to assist my family. Give the extra to people who need it if we have any left over." He nodded, and a small smile played across his lips, but you couldn't tell what he was thinking because of his shades. Sarah. "That's a really great idea." Her eyes got bigger. "How do you know my name?" His finger was on her lemonade stand, where her name was written in big letters on a different sign. "Sarah's stand for lemonade." She laughed and said, "Oh." The man got up and went to get his phone. "Could I take a shot of your stand?" Sarah wasn't sure. "Okay, I guess that's fine." The man said in his head, "This is really good." As he sipped his lemonade, a couple of people walking by started to pay attention. They looked at them with interest and whispered to each other. They seemed to recognize him, but Sarah couldn't figure out why. Soon, the whispers got louder and a few people began to gather. The man leaned closer to Sarah and gave her a folded bill that was more than enough for the lemonade. He seemed to sense it because his shoulders tensed up. He said in a low voice, "Hey, can I get in touch with your parents? I want to tell them about some ideas I have. I'm having a glass of pink lemonade." "Do you keep a recipe a secret?" "Yeah, kind of. Just now I sold lemonade at my dad's job. I was having a great time." Sarah looked confused, blinked, and nodded. She then wrote her mom's phone number on a piece of paper. Even though she didn't fully understand why he wanted it, she gave it to him because he was nice. He stood up and said, "Thanks." He then put the paper in his pocket. People in the crowd said, "That's Elon Musk," as soon as they recognized him. As soon as someone gasped, he quickly turned around and left. Sarah was sitting there with her eyes wide and not sure what had happened. She was holding the bill he had left behind. That night, Sarah was sitting at the kitchen table counting her small earnings, which were just one can of soup and a box of spaghetti. Suddenly, her dad's phone rang. They had turned off their internet service to save money, so the phone had been quiet for weeks. He didn't answer at first because he thought it was a spam call or a wrong number. The calls kept coming in, though. Curious and a little annoyed, he finally replied, but his voice was short. But what he heard on the other end stopped him in his tracks. "Hey there, Mr. Rodriguez. She works for Elon Musk. Her name is Emily. I hope this doesn't happen at a bad time." He wasn't sure. Still trying to figure out why someone from Elon Musk's office was calling. "No, I didn't." "What is this about?" He spoke slowly. Emily went on, "I'm writing because Elon saw something really inspiring today. That's how he met your daughter Sarah at her lemonade stand. He wanted to get to know you and your family. And the gravestone for Carly will be given away. They say they are stunned by how many nice people have been to them. He was moved to tears by her imagination and strength in the face of your family's problems. His breath got stuck in his throat. Sarah's dad. Wait, Elon Musk. Do you mean Elon Musk? He was shocked by what he heard. He knew who Musk was, of course. Who hadn't? But it was almost impossible to believe that the millionaire behind Tesla and SpaceX was interested in his family. Emily confirmed that it was true. Elon thought it was great and wanted to help. He wants to talk to you and Sarah about how he can help your family and even help Sarah find some chances for her future. For a moment, there was silence in the room. The father of Sarah looked at his daughter. She was still focused on her work and wasn't aware of how important the talk was becoming. His heart was racing. He asked, "What kind of help are we talking about?" His voice was still full of doubt. Elon would rather talk about it in person. As he thought about this news, his mind was racing. Soon, the weight of it all began to slowly sink in. He said in a low voice, I don't even know what to say." He had a lot of feeling in his words. "We had no idea this would be this bad." Emily's voice got softer. "Everything will be taken care of by Elon's team. We just wanted you to know that he thinks Sarah is very strong-willed and wants to do everything he can to help her." Still stunned, Sarah's dad turned to look at her. Sarah had stopped and was now looking at him with wide eyes. He whispered, "Someone is looking for you." The enormity of the situation finally hit him. He woke up from his dream when Emily called to him. "Mr. Rodriguez, we're going to set up a meeting soon. We'll be in touch soon." He was shocked and held the phone after the call ended. He put down the phone slowly because his hands were shaking. He looked at Sarah, his daughter, who was still trying to understand what he had said. After that, it felt like a dream for a while. After Sarah's kind deed with the lemonade stand, their story was very different. Kids in upstate New York set up a lemonade stand to help animals that needed help after the storm. Elon Musk was the man in the baseball cap, but Sarah didn't know that until that night. Sarah didn't know much about him. She knew he was rich because her dad talked about him sometimes. When she saw that tweet, it changed everything for her. In order to help her family and other people, "I saw an 8-year-old girl trade juice for food. That kid is really smart. Let's love her." The news about Sarah quickly spread. She didn't think much of him because he stopped and asked her about her stand. But what Musk saw made him very sad. A girl who is just old enough to write nicely is using her creativity and drive to help her family who is having a tough time. It made him think of his own life, from selling his own chocolate Easter eggs in South Africa as a child to dealing with many failures when Tesla and SpaceX were first starting out. Next events showed how easy but powerful stories can be shared on social media. Sarah's lemonade stand was seen by a lot of people online in just a few hours. Sending money started with people from all over the country. Some said they would send her food and goods through the mail, while others sent her money through digital payment apps. A news station in my area picked up and showed a story about people who don't give up when things get tough. A neighbor named Kaylee Cross set up a lemonade stand to raise money for her dog kennel and to help the people who were hurt in the fire in Northeast Fresno. She decided to help her neighbor when she saw their house on fire. Soon after, Sarah's lemonade stand became a community-wide effort to fight hunger, and news outlets across the country began to talk about it. Some people said that her creativity was similar to that of other amazing people, such as Kane Monroy, the young man whose cardboard arcade became famous and started a movement around the world to help new business owners. Many people could connect to Sarah's story because it was simple but powerful. It showed that a child's small action can have a big impact and bring about change. Sarah's lemonade stand in her town was more than just a sign of hope. It also started a bigger talk about people who don't have enough food and how to help each other. Businesses in the area started food drives because of her hard work, and friends got together to open a pantry for low-income families. Musk's tweet made Sarah's story public, but her strong will amazed everyone in the country. Someone in the news said, "She's proof that small acts of bravery can often solve big problems." Sarah watched a simple lemonade stand grow into a movement that changed her town and got many other people to do the same. She had no idea it was possible. That wasn't the end of the story, though. Set up a lemonade stand to help people in need. Sarah did a great thing. Someone put her story on social media and very quickly became very popular. Come back. This Ohio girl seems to have a kind heart. She had a lemonade stand to make money. It keeps getting bigger. This is a BC's Whit Johnson. The news told about the cute little girl with a big heart. Right away, kids all over the country wanted to be like her. In neighborhoods across the country, lemonade stands with signs like "Sip to support" or "Lemonade for food" started to appear. It was clear that the goal was to help people who don't have enough food. Some kids put together their wins and gave food to food banks in their area. In return for lemonade, some people gave their canned goods and food in a box to shelters and community centers. Families across the country shared pictures of their stands on social media with the phrase "Hashelmanata for food" to get people's attention. Schools also paid attention. People in charge of the school liked the idea, so they set up lemonade stands on school grounds to make money. Because of these events, we were able to teach about being kind, working together, and the power of small things. Some schools even had contests to see which class could get the most food or money for the cause. This turned competition for a good cause into a fun time. There was no question about what would happen. One nice thing was the start of Sarah's campaign. Ishmael Ruiz is making his own lemonade to help his family and other kids in Bolingbrook. It became a movement very quickly, and people from all walks of life joined it. Local businesses and community leaders got people involved by matching gifts and giving people things they could use to set up a lemonade stand. Because so many more people gave food, food banks could help more families than ever before. Sarah became a symbol of how powerful people can be when they work together. When Elon Musk learned about Sarah's family, he personally made sure that her dad's application got the most attention. Musk thought of a way to make things that would last, and the plant was a part of it. Musk said, after a tough interview process, Sarah's father was offered a job as a technician at the factory to help put together solar panels and parts for electric vehicles. Sarah's dad's job not only kept him financially stable, but it also gave his life more direction. Seeing how his work would make renewable energy better, he said, "This isn't just a paycheck, it's a chance to build something meaningful." The Guardian newspaper says that people who work at the California Tesla plant are working so hard that they are passing out on the line. But seeing her dad get ready for work and walk out the door every morning was the best thing for Sarah. The little lemonade stand helped them make a lot more money. Their lives changed because of it. Still, Sarah didn't think the help her family got was the best part of the trip, but the chance to help other people with their newfound wealth. In a talk with a neighborhood reporter, she said, "Now we have enough to share. This is what I wanted the whole time." Everyone who heard her words felt something. Sarah's story was still in the news days later, and it made a lot of people believe in the power of small acts of kindness. The man whose tweet made her story famous around the world went back to see Sarah in person. He didn't try to fit in or wear sunglasses this time. Instead, he came with a sleek lemonade stand that was driven by the sun that he had made especially for her. The stand was cutting edge and had a clever cooling system that would keep her lemonade cool even on the hottest days, and put an inscription in a visible place. Now it's time for the 8 o'clock lift. Today the stories are going to make you happy. We like happiness. That's good. We like happiness. We love happiness. So what do you do when life gives you lemons? Lemonade. That's right. Innovation meets being kind. Musk smiled and said, "You're the real entrepreneur here," as he gave it to her. Sarah smiled. She took his small hands in hers tightly, feeling humbled by the act. Musk didn't stop there, though. He saw Sarah's natural ability to be creative and solve problems and told her that he would personally pay for her schooling with a scholarship. This way, she would never have to worry about money and be able to reach her full potential. Musk said, "The world needs more thinkers and doers like Sarah." He also talked about his plans to add Sarah to Tesla's system when the time was right. Musk promised that Tesla's well-known marketing team would help her develop her entrepreneurial energy as part of this project. He told her, "One day you'll help even more people, and I want Tesla to be a part of that." Sarah felt like there were too many options. She was excited about what was to come. The girl who started with a wooden sign and a pitcher of lemonade now had everyone behind her. A small act of kindness can sometimes start a movement all by itself. The person in question for Sarah was Elon Musk. But what really shocked everyone was how determined she was and how kind she was. Do you think Musk should have given Sarah everything she got? How about you, Musk? Would you help that little girl or stay out of her way? Write your answer in the box below. We hope you had fun watching this. If so, please give the movie a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and join the channel. Also, click on the next video that comes up. It will be fun for you.